Thank you all. Welcome to the James Castle House. I'm really excited that you are all here with us tonight. I want to share with you that this is the last evening that this show will be up. It's actually going to be switching around tomorrow. We're going to start that process tomorrow. And a really exciting thing is coming up. It's called Echoes of Home, and what we are going to be showing is featuring pieces from private local collectors. And this exhibition reveals the diverse range of Castle's work that has been found its way into different homes here in Boise. So that's coming up next, and it's really exciting. So if you haven't looked at what's up on the walls, tonight is your last day to do so. We'll turn on the lights after Janhavi's presentation so you can also take a look at that work. But the really exciting part is hearing about Janhavi's stay here at the James Castle Residency and also being able to look at her work in person. We'll be able to do that after she's done speaking. We'll open up her residency space, her studio space, but we'll take a couple of minutes before we go in there because we need to light up the space with some of her. Sorry, I forgot. Projections. Yes, thank you. I'm learning some sign from her too, which is really nice. Um, as you all know, the James Castle House is the program that is presented to us by the Boise City Department of Arts and History, which offers many other services, including public art, history programs, archives, cultural grants, and care and conservation. And I want to thank the City of Boise for its ongoing support to the Arts and History Department. And I also want to acknowledge the land that we are on today, that the James Castle House sits on. We recognize the ancestral, cultural, traditional, and unceded territory of the Shoshone, Bannock, and Northern Paiute people whose land this site sits on today. But now I'm going to move on to the main event. Janhavi has been here for almost 3 months. We are very excited that she has joined us from Chicago. She's a Chicago-based artist, originally from Varanasi, India. Her work explores acoustics through woodcut, printmaking, and experimental installations that combine animation, sound, performance, and vibratory materials. Janhavi moved to Chicago in 2021 to complete her second master's at the School of the Art Institute. I've enjoyed my time with Janhavi quite a lot. She's taught me a lot. Besides sign, Janhavi has taught me how to be intentional and how to share herself, how to share oneself. And she does it so willingly, and also she does it so intentionally and effortlessly. If you've spent any time with her, you have seen how peaceful she is, and that's something that I am also embracing from being around her so much. I've also witnessed Janhavi's fearlessness. We went to BSU to have her present her artwork to some students, and she was really quick to ask Jill, like, will you have me back as an artist here to help with the students? And of course, Jill is super excited about her art and was really excited to have her there, but just her way of presenting herself and saying, hey, I'm here, I'm available, will you have me again? I thought that was really amazing. And she shared with me how her family sees in her fifth sense of her powerful brain. And I really agree with them because I think that she has a blessed brain. She figures everything out. And I never saw her planning out any of her prints. If you have seen her prints, they're multiple colors layered. And I never saw once how she planned it out. It's like just developing in her brain, and it's just amazing. So I want to welcome Janhavi to come and share with us all her work. And then at the end, we'll have some question and answer time. And we're welcoming Lavona and also Holly here as interpreters. And I thank you for being here. Janhavi.
Hello, good evening.
Etini vasta pitä nai. Etini vasta pitä nai. Etini vasta pitä nai. Etini vasta pitä nai. Etini vasta pitä nai.
Anything is possible. That's a quote by William Kentridge. When I was born, 9 months later, I was taking a bath in cold water, and I got sick. I contracted typhoid, fever. I had an aggressive fever. My mom did not know what to do, so they called a doctor in. And the doctor said, put me in ice, an ice bath. But the damage had already happened where I'd lost all my hearing. I then later on went to school. The teacher was speaking her lessons as usual, and I could understand some of it, but honestly, I was missing so much. And I was good at nodding my head and looking like I understood. I would go home and show my mom my lessons, but tell her that I didn't understand and that I felt I was failing. So my mom got an idea. She decided to draw the stories. She would show a forest, a man, draw a lion, and upon drawing all of these figures on the paper, a man, a lion, and a forest, I was able to understand the point of the teacher's lesson. It helped me understand my body as a way to communicate, drawing as a way to communicate, including facial expression, and through my mother's help, I was able to get through my school lessons. My mom would sit with me on a mat in our home, facing each other, and she taught me how to lip read, focusing on the vibrations like ma and pa. You can't see the difference on the lips, but if your hand is on the throat and you say ma or pa, you would know the difference. We would practice over and over on the sound. We learned that adding our hands to the throat helped me understand the difference in different words that we were saying. So we kept our hands on each other's throats. And through that strategy, I slowly learned to lip read while growing up in India. My mom contracted cancer, and she passed away when I was 15 years old.
My mom was my first teacher. She was my link to the world. She encouraged me to be a part of the world through both speaking and reading other people's lips. The artist Frida Kahlo was very emotive in her artwork, and it inspired me as I saw her art. One of her pieces of art inspired me, although in this picture, it's my mother and I sitting together, practicing how to speak, how to understand, and feeling the throats so that we could understand as we sat next to each other with hands clasped. My mom's name was Sudha. My name is Janhavi. So I put them together for the name of this piece of work, which is Sudhanvi. For me, my mother gave me ways that I could navigate the world, experimenting with sound and tactile. Those mediums helped me to be comfortable and helped me navigate the able-bodied world. Don't make me walk when I want to fly. This was my first time making a wood print with color. I was learning about Van Gogh. I saw his paintings and I wanted to learn how to use texture that same way. But I fell short. I was disappointed by the effort. I went to college for my Bachelor of Fine Arts at a university in India. And I was explaining to them my frustration with this. They encouraged me to try many different mediums: painting, sculpture, woodwork. As I was creating a woodblock print, it felt like it had a texture similar to Van Gogh's, and so I learned how to carve. At that time, I had only used black in my woodblock prints. I was watching videos on YouTube, and I saw Japanese artists, and they were amazing. As I looked at their woodblock prints, I picked up some techniques. This is the first print and my favorite work with the colors. It's an 8x4 foot wood carving. It was my first time using color in a woodblock print and my first time making something of that size. As you can see, it is inspired by Van Gogh's work, Starry Night. It inspired me to see the vibrations of the stars in the sky. I really enjoyed as I was practicing and learning how to carve the wood.
body, I,
This artwork is entitled Warning, It Is Time. I will never have that second of realization or warning that a person who can hear has. There's a part of me that will be blindsided when I meet death. I will never hear him whisper in my ear, "It is time." This is a show in Chicago. This is in a huge area. This gallery, I was able to create several editions. And so I had 5 different editions and decided I wanted to play with the artwork. I took the same prints and would play with where they were staged. One funny story about me. I was living alone in an apartment. One night, I went to the restroom, and when I was finished, I went to bed, fell asleep, and I had forgotten to turn off the tap. I fell asleep, and as I slept throughout the night, water flooded the apartment. In the morning, I woke up and thought, what is happening? Why is there water everywhere? And then I realized where it had come from. I had to spend so much time cleaning everything up. That made me start to fear, what if it were to happen again? And so here you can see the water is crashing around the door. There's a quotation, "Have no fear of perfection. You will never reach it." That's from the artist Salvador Dali. Here's a woodcut of me sleeping. I went to the United Kingdom and Scotland. It was my first time visiting a country outside India. It was amazing. My jaw was on the floor the whole time. When I returned to India, I would explain to my family about the amazing things I saw, and they were not nearly as intrigued. I would try to explain the beauty and how amazing everything had been, and as I was sleeping, I would dream I was back in the UK over and over, night after night. In my dreams, there were so many colors that I decided I wanted to incorporate multiple colors in my woodcut print. In the UK, there are so many churches there. Everywhere I went, I had my hearing aid, and there was such a cacophony of sounds. But when I would go into one of the churches, it was hushed. I could sense that my emotion, when I entered those places, was very still, much like when you're sleeping. The noise disappeared from the background. So that's why this picture indicates the peacefulness of rest. This is a very large work. It took me a year. There are 85 colors in this print, and it was my first time experimenting with so many. The last panel is mostly black. I went to London as part of my trip, and it was overwhelming. I had no idea what to expect, and I could make nothing that would represent that. So I left it black. 10 years ago, I told my family as I was showing them my work and said, I want to go to America. And they laughed. And then when I was in Chicago, this was my first show. I thought, I have made it. My dream is complete. So people who can hear and people who are deaf often have diagrams that show the inner workings of their ear. So this is my diagram. These are the things that I hear. You can see the water. That's part of the story of me being born able to hear and then in the cold water becoming deaf. You can see there are 2 lilies here. When you look at them closely, you can see that the stamens, the pieces that come up on thin pieces of flower, are eyes. Oh, I see somebody has moved to tears. Hold on. Not yet. Oh, I'm going to cry empathetically. Okay. I've got it. All right. Whew. If I am near a speaker, I can feel that vibration. I can feel it in my body, even if I'm not hearing the sound. So in a sense, I hear that vibration. A phone vibrating in my pocket is another way that I can hear, so to speak. And that's the black part of the figure in the center. Those are speakers. My grandfather, when I was very small, he would blow into a shell because this was part of his strategy that I was going to be able to hear again. And so he would blow into a shell and put it up to my ear so I could listen. I absolutely loved my grandfather. He just wanted me to be happy, and he thought that being able to hear would be the key to that. So we would play where he would blow into the shell and then put it up against my ear. I couldn't hear noise, but I could feel the love. So the shell there is a diagram of me hearing his love for me. Next, of roots and branches. This was at an art residency in India. They gave me a room to stay, and they said, you can create your work in this space. Somebody had come to the room and was banging on my door to get my attention, and they knocked many times, very loudly. And they were very frustrated and angry because I didn't answer the door. I didn't hear them. Later, I was talking to them, and they said, I banged on your door repeatedly, and you didn't answer. And I realized what a barrier that was. So there, I found a light bulb and a cord and connected that to a small switch or button outside the door. So when somebody came, they could just push that, and the light would turn on, and I knew someone was there. So I created woodcuts and decorated my room. On the table, you can see I have woodcuts of silverware, of art supplies. This is my kitchen with woodcuts of the various things that would be in a kitchen. The work was a deeper investigation into the perception of sounds and visuals and how those can mean different things to different people. They had floor tiles that were in terrible shape. And so I made wood prints to cover the floor tile. And it ended up looking great. People would come in and be like, wow, that's great tile. And I was like, no, that's paper. And then people were horrified to be walking on my artwork. And so they would walk through very gingerly. but I wanted people to be comfortable in this space. They had stairs that had this pattern on them. So I took a rubbing and then put that on the floor, and it looked similar. So this is not a woodcut. It is a rubbing that I did of their steps. And then the woodcut is my favorite pair of shoes.
Keep slugging. This was a quote from Saul Lewitt to Jean Beery.
I am need
Yes, you are.
get get get
Because I was deaf, I was struggling so much.
I didn't catch that. Could you try again?
so
Because over summer, but what I could do probably is take this
the class this time than before. If you think about it more, what actually happens. Right, so I'm going to play.
okay.
But if you think about that more, what actually happens is that
I am eating the huh the no 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 don't chen don't the
D Anna
li era
Diana
Sa, Bas, Tian,
the
An,
no di
Go.
go p
Yeah.
no
I did this performance art because upon the first time of meeting, hearing people in Chicago, they make the assumption that I can hear and we can have full conversations. But when I would ask them to slow down and be patient with me, they often weren't. It's a bustling city and people didn't have time for me. So I created this performance art to encourage people to slow down. Let me take a moment to learn how to lip read what they're saying and provide some common understanding. Slow down when you're talking with someone who needs to understand. Help me navigate my world. Now, a joke. You know the story about the man and the woman who went to their honeymoon that night after the wedding to a hotel room, went into the hotel room. The husband realized he forgot something in the car, went down to get it, told his new wife to stay in the room and he'd be right back. He got the thing he needed and realized that he couldn't remember the number of the room they were staying in. So he got in the car and honked the horn. Honk, honk, honk. And it was nighttime, and in all these windows, the lights came on, in window after window. But there was only one window where his wife, who was deaf, didn't get a response, so he knew where to go. I've told you the story of my mom and me on our mat. I did a show in Chicago. Deaf students visited my performance, and they said, I have a question for you as the artist. This person was 14 years old, a deaf person who I'd never met before, and they said, I don't like this work. And upon asking why that is, because I like to ask questions like that, they said, lips move, but this is a flat surface showing an opportunity to learn lip reading, but with no movement. I learned from that experience of that conversation, and I did not sleep well that night, thinking how I could convey movement. This young man helped me think about my work even more deeply. I then started making different wood prints of lips moving and then animated that on a computer. This now showed the movement of lip reading. This piece is called Letter to My Mom. I wanted to show my mom's voice and me learning to lip read by being taught from my mom.
You see this platform, it's a wooden platform, and I invented this vibration platform where we put speakers underneath the thin wood. People could step or feel the vibration, much like when you touch someone's throat. My teacher was here and wanted to listen to the thing that I was saying to my mother because he could feel the vibration, but we'd actually turned the audio off, so you only felt the vibration and there was no sound with it. This is my MFA graduation show. in Chicago.
ไปดูพนมเปญจังหวัดไทยที่กดไทย
My apartment number was 1505.
ตัวที่เอกพาวปีมันดู
There was a scenario when we were in apartment 1505. I didn't realize that Americans eat dinner at 6 or 7 o'clock and then go to bed by like 9 o'clock. In India, we'll have dinner at 8, 9, 10, maybe 11 o'clock. And so I was very accustomed to having dinner at 10 p.m. After I would finish eating, I would go to the kitchen to wash up. And apparently that's very loud. My neighbors were very angry about the noise. And so they emailed the landlord and said, this person next to us is so loud, we can't get sleep, we can't go to work in the morning. So the landlord emailed me and gave me a warning that I would receive a 10-day eviction notice. And I said, I'm deaf, I had no idea. They had assumed I was hosting parties. I was so loud, which I was not. So after that happened, I would move very slowly trying to clean up after meals. Again, this was a performance piece. I feel so scared and anxious when I'm washing utensils. Again, you can see the vibration platform. I had a bass speaker underneath that was connected to the microphones. So if something made noise, I would feel it and know to stop and that I needed to move more slowly. So I was trying to see what it would be like to wash these dishes without making any noise. I made a woodcut. I had made many woodcuts, and I had done some animation with vibration. But I wanted to find a way to connect the sound with animation. As a person who is deaf, I wasn't sure how I could do that. During this time, post-pandemic, there were masks. I didn't know sign language when I came. But I had instructors who would use their body language to help me understand. Here at the top, you can see clouds. And where at the bottom you see the wave, that is the sound. Where it's very tall, it's very loud. Where it's very short, it's quiet. So I learned to play the drums with my hands, and each time we would hit the head of the drum, it would be like a cloud making thunder sounds. So I partnered this back and forth. I used pins to make other noises so that I could put these together and make them very loud. And I recorded all of the audio. I put them into the software to make an animation. This is me learning how to make the sound and getting the sense of feeling. So the noises here are things that I have recorded of playing the drums and tapping pins. The noise you're hearing of the raindrops is me with a pin and tapping it. All of this is done through woodcut. This is the sound of the sliding glass. And a train was the audio for that. So using animation and connecting it with this platform, people would have the ability to see what was happening and feel the vibration. So it was a multisensory experience, regardless if they were able to hear or not. To float between was artwork that I created in 2024 in response to a personal question. What happens when accessibility exists, but it fails to meet the expectations? This piece reimagines accessibility by seeking sound through vibration, through touch, and through movement. In Chicago, I was invited to show a large piece of work, and I was uncertain how to begin. I did an artist residency in Massachusetts. At their Museum of Contemporary Art, I could see huge pieces. I fell in love with this work. This helped to generate ideas for me. Later, I decided that I would carve my own body into the wood. So my heart, I've already shared the story about how I could have the seashell in my ear diagram. My friend helped me with recording audio. I said, how do you know it's windy? What does it sound like? And so they would tell me, yes, this has a sound, or no, that doesn't have a sound. And my mentor helped me put it together. So the train, the wind, many, many different things we recorded. So Float Between became an immersive artwork. Touch became a bridge to sound. Accessibility became fluid. And art became a form of listening. Again, there are vibration platforms with speakers underneath that people could stand on. There was a section that showed my room and a section that showed the outside, and so I had animations paired with each of those. Here with the projection, you can see blood rushing over me. Accessibility is not a problem to be solved. It is a culture to be built. I want to thank Sam, who was the very first person who told me, and then Monica, when I emailed her and said I'm deaf, and she told me that I was chosen from my application, I was so grateful to both Sam and Monica. James Castle's work has inspired me. He never had any limitations. He made thousands of pieces of work. He didn't spend a lot of time wondering what it all meant. He just committed to creating the process. As I've seen his artwork, I think about the lack of limitations that he embraced. He had views that he portrayed of kitchens, of outdoors. He had memory. He would create representations of places he had been years before. Now we would have photos that we would use as a reference, but he had such an incredible memory, and all of that inspired him. As I've been here, I've really felt inspired that I should also refuse to accept limitations, just as James did. I was able to go to the James Castle Collection and Archives. I really appreciated the time that Andrea and the staff there spent with me. It was supposed to be an hour, but we were a little chatty and 2 hours flew by. I really am so grateful for her tireless energy, and after 2 hours, I just felt like I had taken all the advantage of her hospitality. I went and we talked about going to the museum, and it was wonderful. Having an interpreter every step of the way as I met people was really helpful. It removed so many barriers. Occasionally in Chicago, I have an interpreter, but here it was already built in. I didn't feel like I had to try to write back and forth or text back and forth to be clear. People have been willing to learn signs. They have asked questions. We've played the game back and forth to create understanding. You can see how expressive she is here and learning to gesture and communicate with me. It warms my heart. You can see how animated the interpreter is there too. I am so grateful. Thank you. Since I've been here, I have felt this space is just nudging, begging for me to fill it. I have felt this over and over as a prompting. Just this voice saying, fill me, fill this space. This is my bed where I've not been able to sleep because I was putting artwork on it. Sorry, that's so embarrassing. These rooms helped me think. There's a table, there's a second table, there's a third space. And so I can work at an animation in one space. I can be doing a woodcut in another space. And so I could really section off the space. And as I reached an impasse, I could move to another project. I was able to play and not accept any limitations so that I could keep creating. You can see having the different pieces of artwork throughout the space. I was able to go outside and I saw the wooden slats, and then I would come back inside, and it inspired me to create this woodcut. I made an animation on the computer, but this time I wanted a more physical process. So I photographed each of these as I moved the pieces. This is a stop motion technique, physically moving each piece. You can see I got a little overwhelmed here. It just spun around for a while and then it calms itself down. At the beginning, I felt like, oh, there's so much, and I was feeling overwhelmed by it, and then it really settled into a pace. This photo, or this work, is called Under the Shade. This is a large woodcut, that was in process here. I was using MDF wood, but this wood is different than the type I had in Chicago. The wood here is not water resistant, and so I would carve it, but as I put ink on it, it started to move. But then I would think James Castle didn't accept limits, I'm not going to either. And so I would do a little more and a little more. As I was creating, I had the yellow, the brown, and the blue pieces. I felt like I could only add one more layer before the integrity of the wood would be destroyed. So I decided to add blue. You can see that I was able to carve with a natural light filtering through the window. I would see the shadows outside from the tree and the light coming through. Seeing that interplay of light and shadow really gave me a lot of thoughts. This is across the street, which I could see from my window. And so I put a paper against the fence and just recorded the shade of the tree and then projected that onto the work. I spent a lot of time with moving and changing things that were non-living into living. In the rooms, in the residency, they could use a little life. 2 minutes. Just needed a little whimsical playing. This is a previous work that I did. And you saw the video with the eyes in the medicine cabinet. This one, I'm very tired. It's nighttime. I'm tired of looking at everything. I'm just going to take my eyes out and set them in the cupboard for me. So it's not tears, it's just exhaustion. And then in the morning, they're refreshed and I can put them back in and face the day. So here, this is the bathroom in the residency at the James Castle House. And it made me think of that. I was intrigued by the taps. The hot water comes out one with flames, and the other, there's cold water. I don't have a tap like that at home. And so I worry, what if I were to forget to turn those taps off again? And so I double check. My friends, my family, all of them know that I'm always going to double check because I get a little bit worried. But I was very excited to see those, so I carved them. I want to thank Tony for being willing to come help me. Hello, thank you. I was able to make this type of sculptural piece. So I could play with it and think about it. It's not just a woodcut. It becomes a playful piece in the space. Here are some flowers and a bird and the moon. I have found so many things inspirational here. There have been so many flowers throughout my time while I've been here, and I've started to incorporate those into my work. This is a woodcut of the phases of the moon while I've been here. You can see it in the space. We don't have to take the time now. Here's a quail that was here, and I animated it. I just wanted for things to become living. When you go into the studio space, you'll see that there's the kitchen. There's not a lot of movement. While I've been here, I've not been too worried about being loud because I'm not bothering others. And so it's really helped me think about ways I could make noise and how could I incorporate that into my artwork. So if you see, the kitchen becomes the surface of the projection. So there's a photo of the kitchen with an animation laid over it. So be patient because when you walk in the studio space, you'll see it. I have been inspired by so much here. This is the first time that I have seen blue and yellow combined this way. I have never seen them touching each other like this. I thought it was amazing. I want to thank my friends who took me hiking. I'm tired. This has been a lot of work to sign and to communicate. Thank you. As I mentioned Sam before, and Monica, thank you. Thank you for telling me about this experience. Monica has helped me every step of the way. I don't even know how to express my immense gratitude. Without you, I wouldn't be as productive with the work I've created. You made me feel comfortable and welcome and encouraged me every step. I want to thank Tim and Cherie for helping me with my signing. This is my first time giving a presentation in sign language here. Thank you. Okay, time has flown. It went longer than I expected. Oh my gosh. Oh my. Oh. Oh, thank you. Oh.
We're wanting to see if there are any questions, if anybody has any questions for Janhavi. I will give the mic so it's being recorded so it can live on audio, but if you are signing, the interpreters will, yep.
Tonight was eye-opening. We had met, and I saw that you did woodcut, and I thought, oh, that's pretty neat. But I am blown away by what you have shared with us this evening. Your experiences, your journey, your culture, your experience has just been so impactful. You have created a lot of woodcuts, and you have made prints of those. What do you do with the wood afterward? Do you just have a stack of wood off to the side? That's a great question. No, I keep the wood and then I show it so that way it becomes an accessibility piece for people who are blind. Because they can't see a wood print to feel it, to know it if they're looking at the print. And I want it to be accessible, so the blocks of wood become an access tool for people who are blind. I never get rid of them. I will set them on a table and leave them as a tool for others. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I don't like standing here. That's very sweet of you. Thank you. When did you learn sign language? When I grew up speaking. I came to the US for graduate school. I didn't know sign language, and everybody was wearing masks. The school offered an interpreter, but I didn't know any sign to take advantage of that. So when I met somebody in Chicago, I said, "How do you communicate?" And they said, "I use sign language." And so they slowly taught me. My friends and family, they all speak. They didn't know sign. It was so when I met friends who were deaf in Chicago, but I only saw them once a month, so I didn't remember a lot of it. And then I would watch YouTube videos. I would meet other deaf people. Here at the James Castle House, I've met many deaf people. Being here nearly 3 months, I have learned a lot. I decided that I might use speech tonight, and then I thought about maybe I could sign, and I was discussing it with Tim, and Tim really encouraged me to try signing the whole thing. So that has been my first time giving a presentation in sign language, and it seems you liked it. I'm so touched. Yes, hello. What has been your favorite moment of the residency? Oh, sunset. Out with friends. Davina and Tim, we hiked up to Table Rock. And so we hiked up there and we watched the sun go down. It was amazing. Let me show you the photo. Right there. Watching sunset from Table Rock. I've never sat above a city or on a mountain to see a sunset. I've only seen it from lowlands or a city, and that was amazing. I love it here. In India, it's overwhelming. In Chicago, it's overwhelming. There's so much hubbub. But here, it's been so quiet, I could focus on the work. Honestly, I don't want to leave. I have to, but it'll be hard. Yes. Here at the James Castle House, when you were studying his work, did you get a sense of his pain or any difficulty in communication? Did any of that shape your emotional landscape as you looked at his? Were you able to get a sense of any of that feeling? I love his artwork because he gives no explanation of it. People look at his work, but he didn't give an artist statement. He didn't explain any of it. He is famous exclusively because of his work. We don't have any sense of his inner angst or anything he may have felt. He only communicates openly with the public through the artwork. If he felt limitations, he didn't communicate that to us. And so he let the work really speak for itself in terms of his public persona. So you see in his artwork what you see in it? I think about being deaf and access and things like that. But really in his art, the message I take is that we are open to create and to move forward in the ways that we want. I think in the past I felt more limited, where now I can see there is nothing that would stop me. And really, this residency seeing that there's a quail outside, or there's flowers, or this or that, that every little piece can be inspiration for the work. Thank you.
All right, I think we'll go ahead and go into the studio. If you will give us like 2 minutes, we'll open it up for you all to view Janhavi's final work here at the James Castle House.